The Earnestly Speaking podcast is a show that is founded on free-flowing conversation and may at times venture into mature subjects. Listener discretion is advised.
Yeah, Earnestly Speaking podcast. Let's get it. I'm a giant in New York, in Miami carry heat. So much more in store, my product can flood the street. Opinion Nation Godfather, CEO. Puff in the late 90s, gon' see me blow. Oh. Got my hustle on, no imitation of that. Army of untouchables, Opinion Nation staff. Never an off season, homie, check the numbers. Heart throbbing my own right, supplying southern comfort. Earnestly speaking, my ego is well fed. Earnestly speaking, you're too feeble and no threat. See, I'm like a hurricane, you're a mild breeze. Earnestly speaking, leaving Eli a dynasty. Shake!
First Week Podcast coming to you Tuesday, February 11th, 2025. It is once again Student Report. It is the last Student Report for a little while as we are football officially is over. So typically we go week to week, but doesn't mean we won't have any more coming up in the offseason. We'll definitely have more reports with Kyle Nash during the offseason. We'll obviously have football news between the draft and free agency and any big transactions, and of course if it's going to shoot the shit, So Kyle from Nash with us. What's up, buddy?
Feels odd hearing GWSTWLIO end the theme with Dynasty heading in today's conversation. By the way, we would do more stuff during the off season of football, but EJ Christian is way too scared of me supplanting him on air in public with basketball knowledge. Don't make that face, sir. Like Thanos, I am inevitable.
You need to calm the fuck down, dog.
You big man.
I'm big man.
No, hey, listen. Seeing you feel threatened is different. It's a new thing for me.
I'm secure in my basketball hood, man. Come on now.
And by the way, make sure you check out my Twitter feed with some words from Trey Young and
you covered the Magic Hawks game yesterday at Kia Center.
Kia Center, very good.
Yeah.
I'll give you another bell for that.
Yeah, the Magic falling apart, man. I mean, we'll get to that later on, but yeah, that's the last month of the Magic has not been too kind. Let's just say that.
Boy, understatements for 1,000. Go ahead, AJ.
Yeah.
By the way, I also talk about how they did not make a move in the trade deadline. Fans First Sports Network.
Yeah, and I did comment on that whole thing you sent, and I kind of defended them for not doing anything because I hate making moves for the sake of making moves.
I acknowledge that they had to avoid making a bad trade. I'll say that up front. I'm not this guy.
Right.
There's people out there in the NBA space, which already I'm in year 2 of covering the NBA and finding out the talking heads there might be as bad, if not worse. Some of the NFL folks out there looking at you, Emmanuel Acho, Dan Oblowski.
Oh, he don't count. He don't count. He don't count. He don't count. That dude is this.
Who don't count?
Emmanuel Acho does that say shit. Come on, don't even take that man serious, man. Come on.
Spoken like a true practitioner of the Temple of Lebetard.
I'm
not mad at it. I'm just pointing it out.
Yeah. And by the way, so like obviously football's over now.
Yes.
So I know you're a little sad about that. So I wore this shirt to cheer you up since baseball's around the corner. New York Mets t-shirt.
I thought you were doing it as another season that's already over. Got him! Woo! You weren't ready for that dunk.
History beckons you, and you could be right, but we have improved. We got Juan Soto, so we'll see what happens there.
By the way, I'm waiting for my check this year. That one that you've been giving me for how many years? Hashtag Guinea. What?
Oh yeah. It was almost done. Another 9 years ago, I think.
Listen, you're the one that came to the game with a knife to a gunfight. I'm just saying. This is a you problem.
Very true. Very true. Anyway, we are here to talk football.
Yes.
Super Bowl 59 in the books. The Philadelphia Eagles smoke the Kansas City Chiefs.
Yeah.
Ending their bid for the first repeat in Super Bowl era history. And Kyle,
yeah,
I'm not surprised. I think you and I both said it. It's only two ways: Eagles blowout or Chiefs close win.
Well, okay. Let's not get too arrogant just yet.
Yeah.
Did we say blowout? Yes. Did we expect 34 points to none?
No, of course
at
not.
Any point in this contest?
No.
You're a fucking liar if you did. Now, I say all that to say this. This had reminiscences to me, of Broncos Seahawks, right?
Correct.
Peyton Manning getting destroyed by the Legion of Boom. Which, by the way, if you're a member of that defense, how cool is it that people are using this game to reference you? But I digress.
Because legacy, baby.
Maybe I'll get a chance to ask Richard Sherman or Bobby Wagner about that. Anyways, but the reason why I cite that game in particular over and above the domination that took place with late signs of life of a great quarterback not giving up and putting the ball in the end zone on a couple of great plays, granted. It's funny that Patrick Mahomes II was getting his entire ass kicked and still made two of the best football plays of the night. I think that's ridiculous. But that's what he had to do to even do that against this Eagles defense. What another thing is, and that Denver Broncos, Seattle Seahawks Super Bowl I mentioned was back in the days when I was still doing the Matchup Mania. You remember? And for those that don't, I would weekly talk about the best games worth watching during the regular season. And then in the playoffs, I would break down each matchup individually. And an element of that Broncos Seahawks game was, hey, listen, this game starts here. If this blows up, it'll get ugly really quick. And then you just move on because you kind of assume that's not going to happen. Now, EJ Christian, and correct me if you know better the particular time of year that this happened, but I remember in the offseason having a conversation with you. I don't know whether it was here on the Student of the Game Report or the Huddle Up podcast, but I mentioned that if you were to pick a weak spot to this Kansas City Chiefs offense, it would be the edges.
Yeah.
Their offensive tackles on the whole are probably the weakest part of the team. Granted, you can make an argument for the receiver core being that after all the roster issues with, the Rashee Rice situations and injuries. And, they eventually shored that up, allegedly getting DeAndre Hopkins in the building, blah, blah, blah. Right. But moment one, Taylor, and I always forget the other tackle's name. That's on me.
Anyway, go ahead.
They are the weak point. But because Patrick Mahomes II is who he is, and Creed Humphrey at center and that interior are who they are, typically they can kind of just get around it. Not every single solitary team in the NFL can get the pressure that the Eagles got just rushing for. By the way, I wish there was a Giants fan on this panel, so A, I can mock them about Saquon, and B, make another Super Bowl reference about superiority.
Calm down.
In that, I can't calm down. I'm excited about that Giants line that twice supplanted the great Tom Brady and made him look mortal.
I know. Okay. Fond memories now for us. So.
Well, I don't know why it's a fond memory for you as a Patriots fan, but that's a separate conversation. The punchline says, by the way, all you idiots out there, see Tom Brady's still the GOAT. Bitch, shut up. Okay? By the way, can we stop acting like two other things are true? A, Tom Brady being the commentator for the game had nothing to do with this shit. Stop it. Remember, he lost twice, not twice.
Is that really a thing?
Yeah. It's all over social media. It's the stupidest
we have fallen so far.
By the way, the next stupidest thing, these idiots out here that are actually using this as a metaphor for Notre Dame. Well, gosh, the Chiefs got beat down and no one's saying they didn't belong in the game. It's because it didn't take a fucking panel. This isn't a poll. They won the games. So stop it. We won't get into other particulars, but Notre Dame fans, this is plural, out there who did that, you're dumb and you exposed yourself worse than Janet Jackson in a halftime show. I'm sure we'll talk more about halftime shows later. We'll have a far less angry response. I know. I'm white. I'm supposed to be mad, right? No, I'm not. Moving on.
You're allegedly white, though, according to people who have met you.
Yeah, that's right. I am allegedly not white, depending on who you ask. You among them, if I remember correctly.
What do you think? And I'll get to the players in a second. But the first thing that comes to mind when I look at the situation and the Eagles win the title, won a Super Bowl twice in the last 3 years. I look at Nick Sirianni, and I look at Nick Sirianni's legacy so far in Philadelphia in the last 4 years.
About Nick Sirianni.
Wait, hold on 1 second. No, I don't look stupid. I'm going to tell you why. Because I wasn't one of those that sat their station and fired. What I was saying, especially early in the year, was that he's under pressure. I'm not saying he should be under pressure, but I'm saying the reality of what is in Philadelphia.
in Philadelphia, you're under
That's what I'm
pressure
saying.
anyway.
I've always been Sirianni, and in
No,
fact,
you haven't, but
no,
that's okay.
I have.
Not really.
I have.
You've acknowledged that he's young and maybe needs to grow. You've not really
but
That's not the same thing.
But what did I say when they were 2-2? And I said on this podcast on the Huddle Up podcast that I think the Philadelphia media is a bit unfair to the guy. Okay,
Philadelphia media is unfair to everybody. If you're going to act like that's news, you need to go to a different show, homie.
But that's also Philadelphia media as a whole and how they
Correct.
Operate. You know what I'm saying?
The only thing that might be worse is Boston media, but I digress.
So I was critical surrounding this. We did certain things, but
you were judging about him in a reaction in a press conference, bro. Come on.
Oh, no. See, this is where you're wrong. That was not Sirianni. That was Jalen Hurts, not Sirianni.
They were linked?
No, they were not linked. It was Jalen Hurts acknowledging that there was some issues. So on his credit, he turned things around. 2-2 this year. There was a little bit of a crossroads. We all acknowledged it, and he took care of business.
No, and here's actually, in truth, here's what it was. And this is one where I will actually acknowledge what I said, whereas you are dodging it.
Not bullshit.
I had questions about the coordinators he had last year.
Correct.
What I will say, and this starts with a conversation, I don't know what you call a conversation, but a question I asked him at the Super Bowl 2 years ago in Phoenix, leading up to the game that the Chiefs won, where Jalen Hurts was the actual MVP as a losing player more than he was this year. More on that later. And to think idiots out there actually defend Jalen Hurts as an MVP, but we'll get more on that later. But leading into that game, I asked about the makeup of the team. And he made it clear his approach is inside out. But apparently it's not just on offense, right? That defensive group had a historically great Super Bowl performance. Say what you will about the rest of the season. Obviously, they were really good throughout it. The reason why we were able to forget how good the offense was is because the defense and Saquon was carrying them. I'm not here to say that Jalen Hurts is another version of Russell Carrington Wilson with Marshawn Lynch and the Legion of Boom, but parallels can be drawn.
There are some similarities, definitely, to 2014.
I'm not here to say that Jalen Hurts is anything like Russell Carrington Wilson personality-wise. That ain't it. For one, Jalen is a very reserved dude. He ain't trying to talk a whole lot, and that's okay. I'm not knocking that. I'm just describing that as
it's kind of amazing that even with him winning the title, his demeanor is still the same.
Yeah, it reminds me of Eli, frankly.
It does.
I mean, you're not a Giants fan, but you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, you know, name like that. Manning. Go ahead. Yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
That
joke may never get old. I guess.
No, you keep hiding the actual evidence behind your microphone every week. I can't help you. Jesus Christ. No, but listen.
Continue.
To look at this game, anything as other than a historical great performance by the Eagles' defensive line is frankly lazy. It's lazy, and it's a show of your bias. You are desperate to have Tom Brady, who is not a great quarterback physically,
in comparison,
and defend your narrative of nostalgia with him as the GOAT, completely forgetting he is Hall of Famers, plural, supporting him. Yeah, by the way, we discredit Jalen Hurts for it.
Of course.
You know, and no, that's not a racial thing. That's just the facts of the case here, folks. Okay. But to me, this defensive performance, I mean, this isn't opinion. This is fact. It is historically great. Fewest yards in the first half in a Super Bowl, as well as by Patrick LeVon Mahomes II, period. And the fewest first downs allowed in a Super Bowl. Also the fewest in a half by Patrick LeVon Mahomes II. So the fact that these guys aren't getting credit and we're spending so much time criticizing Patrick Mahomes instead is absolutely asinine and frankly just a complete and total lack of awareness overall in the game that happened.
And this is weird. Like, you have to like the guy, and I get it. You know, we're in the same territory we were like 3, 4, 5 years into the Patriots dynasty. Was like, oh, we're so sick and tired of Tom Brady. Let's just hate the guy because of whatever. Okay, and I get the Chiefs get all the calls, referees leaning their way. And
no,
bullshit. It's just so annoying though. Like please, and now analyze the game as is instead of fucking using your own bias, feelings towards it. I saw someone say, I saw one of the dumbest statements I ever saw on social media, and that's saying something because social media has quite a few of those dumb statements out there. Someone say that, because of this loss, Mahomes is no longer in the conversation with GOAT anymore.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
That's a thing that's out there.
Right. And
by the way, it's not just some dude on social media. That's the national narrative.
And by the way, I'm like, so does he return the 3 rings he won or something? Like, what happened here? Like, do we forget that all of a sudden, like, so it's year to year, you're GOAT until you're not the GOAT anymore?
It's the LeBron James argument, right? Like,
silly. It's so fucking silly.
As somebody who thinks Jordan is the GOAT, by the way,
me too. Likewise.
People keep forgetting that he was dusted in the first round. What? At least 3 times, I think. Maybe
3 times. Yeah.
Brady missed the playoffs at times and was dusted early.
The guy.
Go ahead.
No, the guy. I'll give you a little context on what he said in that same post. He goes, the top 3 now is the 2 guys, Brady, Montana, and Peyton Manning. I'm like, I'm sorry, did Mahomes all of a sudden have less rings than Manning now to assess that?
I mean, listen.
What are we doing? What are we doing here?
I'm not a believer in rings.
I'm not either.
But it's a fair point to make. Like, people don't know what they're doing. Let's just be honest.
I'm like, come on, chill the dumb takes.
I think the main piece, though, is Patrick LeVon Mahomes II has just an insane postseason record.
Yeah.
The very same thing that we praise Tom Brady for. The thing is, at least, and I'm not saying it's the toughest division in the NFL, but it's certainly not the weakest, like the AFC East was when Tom Brady was marching through it. At least at times, Patrick LeVon Mahomes II has had to cast a shadow of doubt upon Justin Herbert, who isn't a bad quarterback. He just keeps supplanting him. And I get it. Lately, the Raiders have been just awful, butt nasty. That's fair. But to pretend that the Broncos haven't been competitive at least a little bit as well? Yeah, this is a tougher division than the AFC East ever was. So getting there is a bigger accomplishment. And after being handed the AFC East crown for so long with so many poverty franchises, need I remind people of what the Jets were and are, and what the Dolphins are and were and have been for over half a century?
The Bills were for a while until recently with Josh Allen.
Yeah, right? I was getting there. The Bills have only lately ascended, only because they landed Josh Allen, who, by the way, still has not achieved middle name status. So
can't be Mahomes yet.
It's not even just that, though. But that's a separate conversation.
Later. Yeah.
But yeah, taking Mahomes off the Mount Rushmore, let alone out of the GOAT conversation, is patently stupid and prisoner of the moment.
So I want to discuss the Eagles moving forward.
Yes.
We talk about this Chiefs dynasty. The Chiefs dynasty is a dynasty because they won 3 and 4, 5 years. It's a dynasty.
Right.
Now you mentioned, and I'll get the Eagles a second, actually. You mentioned on the podcast a few times, actually, leading up to this week, that regardless if the Chiefs win this game or not, that there could be some changes, some, shuffling the deck a little well, that they could take a step back. How far, we don't know, but it's possible this team may take a little bit of step back now after this season, regardless if they won or lost. Yeah. Do you still feel that way, or do you feel like maybe this loss could be maybe a configurate another run?
Yeah. So, okay, let's take some inventory, right? Mm-hmm. You feel like Travis Kelce's retiring, right?
I'm not so sure now, honestly.
I am.
I would have said 100% yes if he had won. I will still lean yes towards that, but I'm a little less on.
I know where you're going,
right?
And maybe you're right. I'm not feeling it.
Okay, no, and that's fine.
By the way, go back to the short hair. This hippie hair bullcrap looks terrible. Stop it, Travis. Do us all a favor. Kill the mustache. Kill that hairstyle. Go back to what it was. You're fine. Let Jason Kelce handle the hair department. you're never going to compete with that.
Maybe he'll go back to that
Don't
next
try.
season when he comes back to revigorate, as I mentioned.
I mean, it would certainly be a lot less weight to carry in that helmet, but
Anyway,
I think he's done. So there's that.
Mm-hmm.
I don't, and I haven't looked on Spot Rack lately and checked all the contracts and all the ages of players and all that. Chris Jones is getting expensive. Karlaftis is still on his rookie deal for now, I think, but that is getting close to the end.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of other rookie players that are big performers are getting to that point where that defense has performed way too well. They're going to get paid, and they deserve to.
Right, absolutely.
But there's no way in any world that the Chiefs can afford to pay all of them. Please see also the Bengals offense if you're looking for a parallel, right? There's those changes coming. The Chiefs can't seem to hold on to receivers. And running backs feel similar in that way.
Hopkins was a failure. Let's put it that way. Let's go for
God. I mean, you're not wrong, but saying he did not meet the expectations ingrained into him being joined to that roster. And I mean, that's the tough part about getting joined in that late. Maybe he still pans and becomes something. I don't know. But for me, it's going to be, there's going to have to be some turnover there. And you got it pulled up here for those that are listening.
Yes.
Kelsey is probably gone, and he's taking relatively less money. I mean, you can do that when you're Travis Kelce,
right.
Podcast God, Chris Jones is the second highest player on the salary cap as a defensive tackle. That is amazing. And then the next player down is
Joe
their
Thuney?
guard. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then they got Jawan Taylor, former Jaguar, by the way, at tackle, fourth on the list. And is that's Creed Humphrey? That's fifth at center. So
correct.
Like they're going to keep certain elements of the protection core, but we're beyond that.
I know Justin Reed's free agent. I know Hopkins. I think he's cooked. We'll see.
And Reed being a free agent at safety is a factor, 100%.
They do have guys though, key guys that are on the market that they may lose. They still have Rasheed Rice.
But I'm seeing a lot like Karlaftis is at year 4.
Right.
McDuffie's at year 4. Xavier Worthy is not at year 4, but
year 1 actually. So
yeah, he's at year 1. But I mean, like at some point, I mean, actually no, is Karlaftis year 3 or year 4? I'd have to double check. But
yeah, anyway,
the punchline is
there's definitely some moves to make on the fringes, in terms of what this team can do to keep it, but. Obviously,
and remember, if you remember going into this season, I gave the Chiefs a lot of credit, not only for maintaining, but finding ways to get better, even as a back-to-back champion, right?
It gets hard, though.
Exactly. And at the risk of it, that's what she said. I feel like, I feel like that to expect them to maintain it is kind of unfair.
Right.
To be honest.
If
they pull it off, more power to them.
Before I get to the Chiefs, Eagles real quick.
I
think of these two teams, if the likelihood of these two teams winning more championships in the next 2 or 3 years, I would actually think the Eagles.
No, and that's fair. One, the road is easier traveled in the NFC. We've had this conversation.
Correct.
The best thing to ever happen to the Philadelphia Eagles in any scenario is the Niners facing injuries.
Yes.
Whether it's specific to just the quarterback at a certain conference championship game, or in this year and completely eliminating from the playoffs so that the Eagles, in fact, get obliterated again. I'm joking. I don't really think the Niners will win that football game, but one can't help but notice the coincidence.
They are benefiting from a lot of factors now where they have at least, look, it's hard to, you see now, even the Chiefs, they can't do 3 in a row. They're benefiting though from the fact that a lot of the top teams last couple of years have either climaxed or fading now. The Chiefs are at a position where they may fade a little bit on the fringes. You look at the Niners, they're getting older now, a lot of injuries. Buffalo has a move to make. Probably Baltimore has a move to make. Philadelphia has the right guys at the right age gaps, the right age tiers, and I don't think it's conversation to have the most talented team right now in football.
Right. The roster is amazing. We went over that last week at length. What you also pointed out is, I think, the biggest factor, and that's age, or rather lack thereof.
Correct.
Remember, with Miles Sanders, who, by the way, is a fine running back, he's just not Saquon. With Miles Sanders, they were what, a field goal away from winning the football game?
Yeah,
in the Super Bowl in Phoenix.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
This is a good football team. Okay, Jalen Hurts, even if he weren't young, is secured. The bag is locked in. He's their guy. Their offensive line has turned over some, but while listen, Jason Kelce retiring was a sad day. You know what else it was, though? A big number taken off the books.
Mm-hmm.
Right? They've built in the trenches, just like we talked about, just like I mentioned with Sirianni and his approach, and then kind of put the skill pieces around it. Now, A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, they are going to be the interesting pieces, and if whether they can keep them in the building. But let's say one of them has to go. Are they that much worse? Sure, they're not quite as good, but they ain't bad. They surely are still the favorites to clear the NFC, unless you think the Lions can stay healthy playing that style of football all year.
The Packers,
right? Which, you know, in a scenario like this where I'm looking at the offseason 2 days after the Super Bowl and making a guess, I'm not picking the Lions the same reason you don't pick Kevin Durant to finish an NBA season. You know, I said what I said, Ernest Christian.
Yeah, you're not wrong. You're not wrong. Calm down. Calm down. I know Eagle needs stroking. It's okay. I get it.
I mean, the same way I mentioned that Philadelphia was cooked before the end of the preseason in the NBA. It's ironic I'm using Philadelphia to compare to Philadelphia. You see what I did there, Ernest EJ Christian?
Yeah, because you know that Embiid guy.
Yeah,
and I think actually Embiid is the example should be using more than Durant, if anything.
Fair, but also Embiid isn't the only dude getting hurt in those ranks. But that's
I agree. I said what I said, buddy. I said what I said.
You said what you said. I've said what you said. I said it before the Warriors were done with their dynasty, that Philly should move him while he had the max.
You did say that. You did say that. Before I put a bow on the season, let's take a look at the current Super Bowl odds right now for the rest of the league now. As you see here right now, since the closing the door of the Super Bowl 59 on Sunday night. The updated odds right now is currently, not a surprise here, the Eagles at plus 600. The Ravens is second now, along with the Chiefs and Bills at plus 700. The Lions at plus 900. The Niners at plus 15. The Bengals at plus 18. The Packers plus 18. And the Commanders plus 18. You look at these top 9 and 10 teams there, Kyle. What stands out to you here?
I mean, well, I'll say what I think the worst one is. Obviously, the Eagles are the safest pick because the NFC is what it is. We had that conversation just a moment ago.
Correct.
The Bengals aren't making it to the Super Bowl. What the fuck are we doing here?
The Bengals done? The Bengals?
What wins championships, EJ Christian?
Oh, absolutely. I agree.
What wins championships? I asked you a question.
Oh, we know the answer to that question. Come on now.
Answer the question for the audience, jackass.
Defense.
What don't the Bengals have outside of Trey Hendrickson?
That stuff.
Yeah.
And assuming they keep him. Soon they keep him, by the way. Is he free agent too?
Oh God, if they let him go. Anyways. Now, this is no disrespect to our good friend Mikey the Bernier, but he'll tell you how much their defense bites. You know.
Mm-hmm. Stand out for me here. The Niners, I mean, I guess they're relying on the fact that, well, I mean, we saw the news about Deebo Samuel. He got permission to seek a trade.
Yeah, I listen. Deebo Samuel is another injury-prone player that isn't a great receiver, but he's a fantastic gadget guy. He's only successful if he goes to the right place. That being said, if some idiot is willing to pay enough for him and take his contract, by all means do it, because the Niners need to rebuild somehow.
I will say what stands out for me here is Detroit plus 900. I think them being a little bit lower than the other 4 teams up here tells me they believe them losing those coordinators and Aaron Glenn and Ben Johnson to the Jets into the Bears respectively is going to have a toll on that team.
Well, yeah, and I'm glad you brought that up because over and above the injuries and stuff, I think that's a huge factor. Probably the biggest factor of all the factors. We've seen it before. We just had a conversation about the Eagles 2 years ago, right? Do you expect the Lions to take a step back? Of course. They're a friggin' 15-win team. Like, what are we doing here?
But they'll still be one of the favorites in NFC to challenge Philadelphia.
Shouldn't they?
Based on this,
Pop quiz, hotshot. Who takes a bigger step back, the Lions or the Vikings?
Oh, the Vikings, easy.
Then what are we doing here?
Exactly. In fact, Minnesota right now is plus 4,000 as a result.
Yeah,
I mean, yeah. This is and look, this is the odds right now. We're still not considering obviously free agency. You're not considering the draft. Things can change obviously, so those numbers are going to.
Well, we don't need the draft to know the impact of the coaching too. By the way, the Vikings also lost their offensive coordinator to the Jacksonville Jaguars. I write about Liam Cohen and Udinsky being combined in Jacksonville, Fans First Sports Network.
Yeah.
How's that for a plug, bitch?
I like that. All right, before we put a bow on the Super Bowl itself, halftime show performed by Kendrick Lamar. Your thoughts?
Why are we okay? So here's the thing. There are just times where I think people are either willfully ignorant, talking out of turn, or both. And this isn't to one particular side. First of all, you, sir, are an absolute asshole for going after Joel Klatt. Yes, you. And rightly so. Let me tell you why.
I didn't go after him.
You did. Yes, you did. You did. You did.
On a tweet?
Yes.
Let me find that tweet. Keep talking. Let me find that tweet.
Admit it. And I hope you're finding it to share it with the audience if you have.
I am. That's exactly what I'm doing. So filibuster here, please, while I find this.
But you mean like I always do? I carry your show again?
Yeah, no, for real.
No wonder my shoulder hurts from sitting in the studio so goddamn long. Your show is heavy. Gosh. At least when your wife carries you. Never mind. So,
I love it.
Terrible. No, but listen. Joel Klatt said something along the line of, I didn't recognize a single song. Gosh, does anybody else feel old? Or something along those lines. To which you responded, and I'm paraphrasing, you're finding the tweet, you'll correct what you want to. I'm old as fuck and I still know these songs. You're the problem. Basically was what you said.
I did not say that.
You totally did, though. But that's okay.
God.
Here's the thing. You and other people in the Huddle Up group chat made it about how white he is. Sir, that is a symptom of his geographical demographics, not to his musical tastes. This dude listens to Christian music, for goodness sake, okay? He doesn't know anything about They Not Like Us. Like, what are we doing here? And if you're going to do something, and I think, I'm not going to call it a problem. This would be the challenge with a large portion of the audience. If you don't listen to hip hop and you care to not care about the beef between Kendrick and Drake, like me, I still get the reference because I hang in enough circles to where I got it translated. But listen, if you love pettiness and an inside joke with a little bit of political symbolism and similar beautifully placed pettiness and Uncle Sam being Samuel L. Jackson, hell yes. Great show. If you aren't aware of all the other inside stuff, Serena Williams, crip walking, and all this other stuff, it's not going to mean anything to you. And this is the challenge of appealing to allegedly 13% of the country, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, granted, that's not my opinion. It appeals more to just the black demographic. It's meant to appeal to other people as well that listen to hip hop. I'm willing to bet it's well less than half the country. But when JC's running the production company that does the deal with the NFL to put together the halftime show, what you mean? You mean the hip hop artist is going to lean towards putting on other hip hop artists? No shit. And there's nothing wrong with that.
So I can't find the tweet to put on the screen here because the app is different from the
Well, I can't. So
let me read verbatim what Zach said. So Joel Klatt said this, okay, verbatim. just turned 43, and that is the first Super Bowl of my lifetime that I did not know a single song from the halftime show. Feeling old? That was what he said. I responded kindly. I said, nope. I'm older than you, and I know Kendrick's entire catalog. It's just not your genre, and that's okay. That's all I said.
Lies. I mean, you said it's okay, but let's be honest. You were throwing shade at the great Joel Klatt.
No, he doesn't know. He doesn't know his music.
You didn't have to respond.
He doesn't know his music. It's okay.
Gave no hint that hip hop artists actually name themselves after the name of your state, Flo Rida.
Right, but I don't expect him to know who he is, like though.
Pitbull. I mean, I'm sure there's a famous hip hop artist that comes from Colorado. I just don't know who that is.
There's a lot of black folks I know my age that doesn't know any of his music either because they're not. They don't.
Exactly.
But the thing is, my point is, they don't prioritize music like I do.
But you choose to go after the great Joel Klatt.
But
because his life is more devoted to college football than hip hop, and you held that against him.
How do you look at that as me going after him though? Like I was literally.
Why make the comment?
It's okay.
Why did you?
I'm saying he's not old.
Something motivated you.
Because he said he was old. I go, well, I'm older than you are, and I know who he is.
Old is a perception, though, man. And if you're
a
former athlete who's let's call it what it is. Joel Klatt is dashingly handsome. Okay,
he is a handsome guy. Yeah, he really is.
Just like any quarterback should be,
and probably a great guy too. Also, watching him on the show, he's probably a great offensive guy.
So great that you talk trash about him. But listen, I'm just here to take you to task, and rightly so. Okay? You want to give somebody a hard time? Dare to come after me when I do something wrong. I'm still waiting for you.
Having said all that, did you enjoy the performance at all?
Because
I gave it a B.
This is where I wanted to land the plane. Now that we're done talking trash on you being mean to Joel Klatt, and rightly so.
Right.
I'm not the target. No, I didn't vote for Trump. I did catch the subtle dig. That was cute. Yeah. I do appreciate good performance, and I feel like it's like a movie that you had to. It's a sequel that you've already had to see the original to understand. And while there's plenty of value for you, if you're in that space, which I knew enough to get all the references and the lawsuit, the way he teased They Not Like Us was fucking gold.
Yeah.
But if you weren't already invited to the party, you're going to feel left out.
And that's
this isn't about left, right, or anything else. You left people out of a performance at halftime for the one thing that we still collectively consume in this society right now, with the way things are segmented in entertainment within TV itself. I could go on and on about streaming services and blah, 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 blah. Sports, the same thing.
Yeah.
All started by your precious WWE, by the way, getting their own network. But to segment the one thing that is universal is, I'm not going to insult Jay-Z because he's far more successful than I'll ever be. He's a billionaire running a production company among many other things. I'm 14 months out of the work. What the fuck do I know? I get it. But you have to acknowledge, or if you didn't know it, you're out of touch. You have to acknowledge getting something that is as niche as hip hop still is.
Correct.
As a whole in the country, demographically, these are numbers, not opinions, right? It's a risk at the very least. You got a little pushback. Hey, listen, people push back against Madonna and Shakira, for Christ's sake.
And this is why I understood how people felt, because I wasn't hard on people who genuinely didn't like it, because number one, Kendrick Lamar is he's not new, but he's new for a lot of folks in my age demographic. So unless you are following his career like I have, but I'm also an anomaly. I actually love music. I actually follow music the way
you are a former performer yourself, by the way.
Yeah, exactly. So I have a different investment than most people in my age group. So most folks in my age group who probably were big to music at one point in their life, the same folks who didn't enjoy this performance did enjoy the one 3 years ago with, oddly enough, Kendrick Lamar, Dr. Dre, Snoop Dogg, and Mary J. Blige.
Listen, if you didn't like the Dre performance, you're the problem. I'll come to defense there.
And for the record, Kendrick Lamar was part of that performance for the record too.
Sure.
Right.
That show was far better, but I don't think it's fair to hold that against Kendrick, because bro, there's a lot of heavy hitters on that stage. Let me tell you.
Right. But the thing is, like, look, were there people who were showing themselves out a little bit like extreme with it? Like, I hate this show because it's too ghetto and making some like subtle like racist comments about it. Yeah, there's out there. You can't control
Dog whistling.
It is
as much as that term gets misused. There was plenty of that present.
Yeah, it is what it is. You can't control that. People are gonna say what they're saying. That's it. I mean, you gotta let this shit go. Yeah. But there are people also who genuinely didn't enjoy it, and I get it. I totally get it. In fact, I would argue, I've been saying for years that, and I love hip hop, but, and even Gee Steelio, a friend, we've been talking on text about this too also, and he agrees too also.
As a former hip hop artist himself, I might
add. Because of that platform, it's really hard for hip hop and rap music as a whole to translate as well on that stage in comparison to other, because again, the name of the game is entertainment. Okay. So, and granted, in hip hop, you do have entertainers, but you have to be specific on which artists you're going to choose. The ones they did 3 years ago with Snoop and Dre, they entertain. So they fit that mold. Kendrick Lamar, because most of the folks don't know who he is or his music, they're going to feel some kind of way, and I get it.
He also tried to do a lot of next level subtle stuff on top of that in the show itself, which not everybody's picking up on.
No.
Listen, I'm here telling you the things I saw, which again, let me repeat. I loved Uncle Samuel L. Jackson.
Oh, that was genius.
Fucking great. I didn't catch everything, but the stuff I caught was smart. Here's the thing. Ironically, too, what was the biggest struggle Obama had as president? He spoke at a 10th grade level, where America on average is at around 5 or 6.
Right.
He was being too intelligent for the audience in some places too. I'm not just making this about, hip hop's the wrong choice for the Super Bowl, but you also got to come down to the lowest common denominator a little bit.
That's right. Because again, the Super Bowl show draws everybody, every demographic. So you're going to get access to that too, also too good or bad. I'll say this though, having said all that, I'll say this as someone who loves hip hop, for the record. I'm getting tired now of R&B and hip hop though, year after year. I want something new. It's been a while. Okay, as someone like myself who's
they're not getting Metallica. Stop it.
Well, next year it could be a good chance though, because
they're not getting Metallica.
Probably not. But if there's any chance of making Metallica, it's next year.
If their lawsuits against Napster taught you anything,
no.
Let me land the plane. This is funny.
Okay.
If the group that sued Napster is a thing, as Metallica is, there's no way they're doing a halftime show that doesn't pay.
Oh, God.
Got him! Got him!
6 years, buddy.
Got him!
Next year's Super Bowl is being played where?
Oh, that would be Atlanta, I believe.
No, San Francisco.
Oh, that's right. Atlanta's the following.
Where Metallica's home base is.
Yeah, but that's not going to happen.
Probably not. We'll see. But my point is though,
bro. If I'll tell you what.
Go ahead.
I got you. I'll make you a bet right now.
Go ahead.
I got you a little Miami Heat necklace from my artist. Shouts to Smokey Customs, by the way.
Yes.
If Metallica is selected to do a halftime show, whether I have a job yet or not, I will have a same little necklace made with a Metallica charm for you.
Oh, bet. Let's go. Bet.
Let's go. I don't even want the cookies. Give me the Metallica chain, bitch.
Bet. No, but I do want something more diversity. We haven't seen a rock band play that thing in over 10 years. Probably 15, to be honest.
Listen, I would love Offspring. That's not going to happen.
You're right. They're not big enough, actually. They're not big or appeal enough to
but Kendrick is?
Kendrick is.
Got him.
He's big enough.
Well, yeah.
Comparison.
Sure. And by the way, as a side note, I'll reveal this element of bias too. In general, I'm not a fan of throwing a butt ton of like Grammys and accolades towards a diss track. Now, I say all that saying this, bro, there's some clever stuff in there.
That's why you got it.
Okay. I'm not here to say that I'm a prude. It's just not my first choice.
And I got
Taylor Swift should not be getting awards for Bad Blood. Okay. Now that didn't happen, obviously, but
also
there's so much good stuff in.
The thing is though, there's diss tracks, but when a diss track is literally the biggest song of the year,
I think that says more about the public than it does the artist. With all
both, yeah. Oh yeah. What question? And
no. I say no, not both. more about the public.
Society,
Ask for more.
where
Right?
society
This is also
at.
a public that accepts Stan Orlovsky as an analyst. So,
I'm true. Yeah, fair point. All right. We also had before the Super Bowl, we had the NFL awards.
yes.
The award MVPs and
Oh, no. Hold on. We've
Yes.
moved on too far from the Super Bowl already because you mentioned MVP. We mentioned Super
Jalen
Bowl
Hurts MVP. Right. So Jalen Hurts did win it. You and I had a conversation on text about.
No, I had conversations. You threw some shit at a chalkboard and thought it was you talking.
I basically said that I saw the argument with Jalen Hurts, but
let me ask you a question.
Go ahead.
When you look back at the Super Bowl,
mm-hmm.
what's going to stand out about it?
That defense.
More specifically.
The guy Sweat?
No, you're reaching thinking you know where I'm landing the plane.
You tell me then.
Fuck the landing strip. Stay on the flight.
Okay, you tell me.
Your boy, Patrick LeVon Mahomes II, wasn't just made mortal. He was made a whipping boy.
Yeah, he was.
Submitted in a fashion that you would only see in a UFC fight with a heavyweight versus a lightweight. Beaten in a fashion like... This is Kansas City Chiefs fans' version of the Passion of the Christ. Let's be clear. Right?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sorry if I offended anybody spiritual. It's a joke. Settle down.
Yeah.
People are going to think about, not the refs, thank Christ, but the hardest they saw Patrick LeVon Mahomes II ever get hit. Because I know that's what I saw. And who made that happen? Not Jalen Hurts, God damn it! The fuck are we doing here? Well, Colin, what about the white guy that got a pick six? I don't give a fuck about Cooper.
That was good.
All right.
All I said on that text was, and I came out with my personal bias. I am a Jalen Hurts guy. I've been a Jalen Hurts guy.
Thank you for bringing that up. I voted for Jalen Hurts personally.
I know you did.
As an MVP at the Super Bowl 2 years ago.
I know you did.
So you know that. I don't know that. Your audience does. Asshole, stop being so selfish.
Tell him again.
Stop being so selfish. It's about me right now. No, actually, no. I'm just trying to make sure people know that I'm not a Jalen Hurts hater. I'm not one of these morons who's angry at Jalen Hurts like alleged Giants fans are about being petty and keeping him out of the playoffs. First of all, I don't think it's real. Second, even if it is, deal with it. And third, I like Jalen Hurts coming out of the draft. And listen, I've made some buffoon scouting statements. I thought Cam Newton was going to be a bust. If I ever made him in his nutty-hatted glory, I apologize, Cam, for ever doubting you. He's going to mock me, and rightly so. And it'll be a great moment.
Yes, absolutely. I only defended the thing that if he didn't have as many rushing yards he did in that game, he doesn't get it.
But it shouldn't matter.
Okay, I get it. I'm not saying you're wrong or right. But I didn't say you're wrong for it. I just said that, biasly speaking, I'm glad he won it, personally, on a personal level.
You know what? Kenny Pickett got a Super Bowl ring. Let's fucking go.
Who does?
Kenny Pickett. Let's go.
Yeah. Pickett, Kenny on Small Hands. Whatever his name is.
Stop it, Kenny Small Hands.
It is what it is, man.
Worst gangster name ever.
I'm just glad he won it because I want that guy to succeed. I want a guy to be substantiated as a great quarterback in this league. So
he doesn't have to be great. I think he's really good.
Right. So
I think he might be the best game manager in the game right now. I'd have to think about that.
There's something to say that. All right. Speaking of awards, again, we last Thursday had the NFL awards where they announced the MVPs of the year, Coach of the Year, all that. So let's run down a list of the important winners of the awards. First off, MVP Josh Allen. I'm actually a little surprised now because I thought no. They got it right for the record.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, we'll get into that. Go ahead.
Well, he was my Earnestly speaking MVP this year for the record.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not mistaken. Was he yours?
He was, in fact, the student of the game MVP. Mostly because it was that close and Saquon sat. And as much as I hated holding that against him, you have to.
Lamar was gaining momentum in the last couple of weeks. In fact, if I'm not mistaken, the last week of the year, he was the slight odds-on favorite to win MVP. Slight. So I'm a little slightly surprised. But they did get it right here with Josh
It was
Allen.
really close though, dude.
Yeah, it was very close. But they did. I, in my opinion, got it right. And all Lamar people are going to say, "Oh, well, you being a hater." No. Because what did I say? Josh Allen won it for the same reason, the same way that Lamar won it the year before that. No different.
Elaborate on what that way is. Sir.
Lamar's numbers when he won it 2 years ago was comparable to Josh Allen's numbers now. And yet there were other guys, quarterbacks, who actually had better numbers that year, but Lamar was doing more with less.
Mm-hmm.
Same
and you feel
situation.
like that's what was going on with Josh Allen.
Right, 14-3, number 1 seed in AFC, doing more or less. That's why we did that. So to apply that same logic this year at Buffalo, entered Buffalo, and same thing this year. Do more or less. They lost receivers. Gabe Davis lost Stephon Diggs. People thought it would be like a rebuilding year maybe for the Bills. Instead, they went a number 2 seed and 14-3. So again, that's
if Patrick LaVon Mahomes II got the MVP when Tyreek Hill left because Tyreek Hill wasn't there, Josh Allen getting 2 weapons lost should matter.
Right. It absolutely should matter. And then winning more games anyway. Coach of the year, Kevin O'Connell, not surprised at all.
I hate it. That's absolutely
why do you hate it though?
It's not the best coaching performance. For one, fair or not, he didn't even win his own fucking division.
So
how does he get it ahead of Man Campbell? And I get it.
Mm-hmm.
I get it. You made Sam Darnold work. Okay, great. All the other coaching performances out there that are better, like maintaining a defensive team the way you did as either Mike Tomlin or Andy Reid, having an absolutely ridiculous start with a rookie quarterback and making the playoffs as Sean Payton did.
Yeah.
Doing what you did in LA to get the Rams out of the NFC West. It was Sean McVay. And I'm not going to say Sirianni, but like it just felt lazy.
There were a lot of great performances for the record. Dan Campbell also got my coach of the year, coach of the year. I will say though, in defense of Kevin O'Connell here for a second.
In other years, Kevin O'Connell is the pick, by the way. Let me be clear.
Right. Kevin O'Connell was my coach of the year until week 18. And it changed week 18 when Vikings played that game. And
so you were wrong until the last minute. Got it.
Right. I just think Dan
Campbell went. If the Vikings won the division, you would have kept it, right?
Yep. So it came down to really. Because again, 14 wins for the Vikings in a year that we thought we last placed in the division. Impressive enough. But what Dan Campbell did during that season, and still maintained 15 wins.
Why aren't we talking about Dan Quinn as a candidate?
And that's the thing too. Also, there were a lot of great coaching performances this year, which makes
there really were.
Yeah,
there really were.
I mean, I'm not mad about Kevin O'Connell winning, to be honest with you, but I understand why you feel the way you feel.
Yeah.
Defense Rookie of the Year, Jared Verse, no surprise there. Same here.
Jared Verse was fantastic.
Earnestly speaking, also Defense Player of the Year. So that's that. Comeback Player of the Year, Joe Burrow, Bengals quarterback. I see the argument.
It has to be because, well, thanks to the fact that Joe Flacco ruined the award, or rather, the media let Joe Flacco ruin the award by letting him take it from a guy that died on the fucking field.
Thank you. Yeah.
The people were all like, "Well, how is it not Sam Darnold?" It's Joe Flacco's fault. Well, rather, it's the media that voted for Joe Flacco's fault. Take notes, bitch. Everybody's calling for MVP ballots. Check that one if you have a problem with that award.
Offensive Player of the Year, no surprise here. Who's mine also too on the podcast? Saquon Barkley.
Yeah. I think I might have had Joe Burrow over Barkley, but again, it's because he sat a game, not because he was bad.
Doesn't it feel like whoever doesn't win MVP typically wins that award? It's like a second tier award.
That tends to be the case, doesn't it?
I mean, Lamar had a case also to win this award.
I mean, clearly the actual MVP choices should have been Saquon, TJ Watt, or Chris Jones, but that's never going to happen.
I'll say as much too. Also, had Saquon not gotten 2,000 yards, I think there's a world where Lamar wins this award as opposed to Saquon Barkley.
Offensive Player of the Year, absolutely.
Yeah. You can't ignore 2,000 yards. I'm sorry. And then 2 more here. You got Defensive Player of the Year, Pat Surtain, the second, Denver.
Was not ready for that. I don't dislike it. Obviously not the student of the game defensive player of the year, but I feel like you got to throw the Broncos something for what they did, I guess.
Yeah.
Not my choice, but it's.
I don't hate it, but
Yeah.
not my choice either. I think I have TJ Watt for mine. If he doesn't
TJ Watt is a great choice.
If he doesn't get hurt, I think at the end of the year maybe he does get it, but whatever. And finally, offense rookie of the year, no surprise, almost unanimous here, Jane Daniels.
Yeah, I mean,
Brad Bowers got one vote. And I get it. Bowers is phenomenal at tight end.
I get that. But when you're playing against a team whose offense and protection is crap, the tight end is going to have blowed up numbers.
Correct.
The disrespect for both Knicks is noted, is what I'll say.
Right. All right. We also have the announcement of the Pro Football Hall of Fame class. Only 4 guys getting in. And quite frankly, I'm stunned that half
it's bullshit.
Guys,
it's completely
and quite frankly, I'm surprised these guys can get in earlier. Honestly, some of these guys.
Well, okay. Let me stop you there.
Okay.
You're not going to see a class again in your lifetime where you don't ask of at least one inductee, what the fuck took so long?
Yeah.
Right.
And 0 quarterbacks there too also. Eric Allen, Jared Allen, Antonio Gates, and Sterling Sharp. Now, all 4 of these guys, this is not their first ballot, right?
Correct.
What the fuck are we doing here, dude?
Gates was passed on because of a lot of key retirements.
Right.
Brady recently happened, for example. What's his butt? Manning, Ray Lewis.
Yeah, not big, huge names, iconic names got retired in the last 10 years.
Yeah,
which really sucks because first off,
Tomlinson had to be put in before Gates, of course.
But look, Sterling Sharp. Sterling Sharp at one point was, before his injury, the second best receiver in the league behind Jerry Rice.
Sterling Sharp's issue is longevity. It's the same
right.
reason Gale Sayers took so long.
Right.
And let's be honest, we know why Sterling got in now.
His brother helped. But deserved. We acknowledge he deserves it.
Through the party. No one here is saying that shouldn't have happened. And sometimes you have to use forces to help justice happen. The fact that Shannon was a media vigilante to right the wrong of Sterling being excluded, notwithstanding, he deserved it. Yes.
Yeah. Not a big news, of course.
Deserved to get Kurt Warner getting in before he did, kind of an issue for me.
Yeah, Kurt Warner's the same thing too. Also, he has 2 different careers, but
Kurt Warner's a Hall of Famer because he brought garbage teams to light.
Kurt Warner is a Hall of Famer. Was he in first ballot though?
No.
Good. He shouldn't have been first ballot.
The fact that he got in as soon as he did, even though he deserved it, is because he's a media member.
Which now leads to the big discussion now leading out of that. Eli Manning, who was snubbed from the Hall of Fame for the first ballot. People have
he shouldn't have been a first ballot guy.
Thank you. I agree. And for the record,
now people who say he's not a Hall of Famer, you're just fucking wrong.
No, he will get in. Probably next 2 years.
You're a bullshit Eagles homer, and you're wrong if you think Eli doesn't belong in.
Right. He should get in. His numbers are good enough to get him in. When he retired, he was top 10 in all major categories in passing yards. I think was touchdowns, all that. So that's going to help his case.
2 of the biggest moments.
And it's the biggest moments in
Super Bowl history.
Right.
And I know everybody remembers the helmet catch, but I know you know about the Manningham catch in the next Super Bowl.
Tiptoe.
It's not even just the tiptoe, which Manningham made a great play, obviously.
That throw was sick, though.
Sick, awesome, aren't words appropriate enough, Ernest EJ Christian.
Mm-hmm.
Perfect. In every sense of the word, that pass was perfect.
Best throw of his career.
By far. There's only one Super Bowl throw I'll accept as a competitor for the best and most perfect pass in a Super Bowl. Can you guess?
Are we going best throw by difficulty or best throw by terms of iconic?
Yes.
Both?
Yes.
Montana Taylor?
No, it was an ugly ass ball. What the fuck are you talking about?
Is it recent?
Define recent.
Within the last 10 years.
We're old enough now. The answer to that is unfortunately no.
Okay. So it's a little bit outside the shade of that then. Santonio Holmes.
There you go.
Yeah.
Roethlisberger to Santonio Holmes
Yeah.
was a perfect
Yeah.
pass. We could have a great episode, you and I, analyzing which is better.
Five content. This is how we do this shit, right? Right, Kyle?
What can I say except you're welcome?
We've been doing this shit so fucking long now. This is how we do it, brother. Here we go. No, he did not get snubbed. I've been saying for the last 6-7 years now.
We
have that he's not a first ballot guy. And because first ballot for me is special. Eli was good. He was not special. Is he a Hall of Famer? Yes. He's not special. For crying out loud, Michael Strahan didn't get in first ballot. And I got to argue he had a better career than Eli Manning did.
Yeah, him not getting first ballot is a problem. I agree. I think he deserved that.
You know how many guys have not gotten first ballot? And some of these Giant fans are like, oh, no. Get out of your Giant bubble and look at it more broadly. There are guys who are way more special than Eli Manning was.
That defensive line made those Super Bowls and made those teams, but Eli had the biggest moments.
Right.
And I think that's why he should eventually get in.
Yeah, he will, and he will get in. He will get in. That name alone will help him out. And I think once he's again, if these four guys took years to get in, then who's Eli Manning? These four guys, I can argue have better careers than Eli Manning. I can argue that.
Well, and so we can give people fairness. Do you have the snubs in front of you?
Terrell Suggs was one.
Fred Taylor,
Adam Vinatieri.
Fuck kickers, whatever.
I know you're gonna say that shit. I knew. That's why I said it. I knew you're gonna say that. Let me see.
Like some idiot out there was saying that Vinatieri had as good a case as Eli Manning. Shut the fuck up. Okay, can we not?
But what helps his case though is the same what helps Eli's case. The moments.
Yeah, but no. Also,
that's all I'm saying.
Those moments were put on a plate by a guy who was alleged as the GOAT.
I'm not bothered by the whole.
By the way, all within 40 yards in general.
Right, I'm not bothered by him not getting first ballot. He'll get in though, but
he should get in. Let me be clear. First ballot would be stupid, and to claim he belongs in before Eli Manning is even dumber.
First ballot is for special. I can't find it. What the hell? Where the hell is it?
Worst host ever. Jesus.
No. Well, you want the snubs now.
Well, I thought you had the list, and I asked if you.
No.
You don't have to look it up.
Yeah, but those are the two main guys. Terrell Suggs.
There are notable misses like Torrey Holt.
Torrey Holt again. So these are guys who have had, or if not as good careers as Eli Manning, or better.
And you only let 4 in. That's the issue.
That was shocking. That's
fucking stupid. Like when I went in LA and got Tony Baselli, there was 5 guys. It was him, Richard Seymour, Dick Vermeil, Bryant Young, and Leroy Butler. You only let in 4? Why?
Luke Kuechly,
Marshall Yanda. How is Kuechly not a first? What the fuck?
He only played 8 years, right? 8 years.
So?
No, I'm saying it's the same rule that you just used. And Mike Holmgren.
Okay, Hogan.
Marshall Yanda also did not get in yet.
Well, of course, the lineman got disrespected.
Yeah. Smallest class 2 also is 05. Wow.
I mean, that's some bullshit, dude. What the fuck are we doing here?
But Eli did not get snubbed, so that's
no, Eli didn't. But Fred Taylor, Torrey Holt, Luke Kuechly.
Yeah. All right, a couple of news and notes. We get out of here. Aaron Rodgers' tenure with the Jets has now come to an end. He's not expected to be with the team next year. I have thoughts about this. You have any thoughts on that?
Good. Like, credit to the great Antoine Staley, New York Daily News, of writing an excellent piece bringing context to the full slate of Aaron Rodgers moving on and why it's more than just the quarterback change that's important, right? We talk about culture, DNA, and all this other bullshit in sports, not just the NFL, right? You know, when I was talking to Quinn Snyder of the Atlanta Hawks, he mentioned DNA and stuff and culture in passing too, right? Rodgers ruined all that in New York. Not that they had it, but he somehow made it fucking worse.
Yeah, sure did. Now, so my analysis on this, and you were here with me when I said this too also, I thought when we saw things disintegrating for the Jets the entire season, that at this point...
You mean after you picked them to make the postseason?
Correct, yes. I did. Thanks. Okay. Thanks for the reminder.
What can I say?
There were really only 2 options for Aaron Rodgers moving forward for 2025 and beyond. Either he returns to the Jets or he retires.
Yeah.
Obviously, the first one is not going to happen now with this news, okay? I still think that it's more likely retires, but I'm not convinced he does.
Boy,
And my argument, Kyle, real quick. My argument here is more so a really dry quarterback market, both on the draft
no,
and in free agency.
Yeah. In other years,
makes
or
that
other weeks.
makes this his career still alive, barely on life support, but still alive. So
in other weeks, you've mentioned the dry quarterback market, and
Right.
each time I've agreed. I've even listen when I'm talking about the draft, and some of the mock drafts I've talked about for the Jags on Fans First Sports Network. The dry quarterback market's a factor in those too.
Because if I'm the Steelers, for example, which
shit, you beat me there. Yeah,
because Russell Wilson, that's part of my news here.
I saw that rumor, and you have to think you make the phone call.
So right. So my thing is this though: if you're the Steelers,
yeah,
because you're not bad enough to draft a quarterback high enough, right? Unless you're training
not at all,
and you don't do that anyway as a
and
franchise.
Do you have enough pieces to mortgage the franchise? I don't think they do right now.
Right. So, I mean, here's your options. A, you have three options here with the Steelers. A, Justin Fields, you run right with him, see what happens. B, you sign Aaron Rodgers to a short-term deal. Or C,
you draft Jackson Dart in the second round.
C, or D, you get Sam Darnold, who's the biggest name on the market.
They're not landing Sam Darnold.
That's my point, though. So, is the play?
Let's be clear. So I can see if we're on the same base. Do you think the Vikings are going to franchise Darnold? I do.
I think it's very likely. Yeah. Because JJ didn't get enough reps.
Get off the fence. I asked a yes or no.
No, it's very likely. In fact, I'll say yes.
Yes.
I'll lean
or
yes.
no.
I'll lean yes. Yeah, because number one, JJ not getting enough reps in one. We don't even know how good JJ is at number one. So Sam Darnold has shown to be a good quarterback. The thing is, too, also, is the play. Now, if Sam Darnold were to hypothetically hit the market, and let's say the Steelers don't believe in Fields, would you rather have Sam Darnold at 3, 4, 5 years at $40 million per year, or Aaron Rodgers for 1 year for less money and see where that can take you with this roster?
It depends on what I'm trying to do the year after. And this is what grand franchises do. And I think the Pittsburgh Steelers have been the one thing the Steelers have been bad at. We talked about it ad nauseum. They didn't have an exit strategy for Ben. Right. And not having an exit strategy for Roethlisberger is why they're here now. Everybody wants to blame Tomlin. It's not Tomlin. Tomlin, like Marvin Lewis, is the reason why you got here as much as you did, just like Marvin Lewis was the reason the Bengals got where they did all those years in a row.
Yeah.
But you make the phone call.
You got to be bad. You got to be bad.
You make the phone call. Listen, you're not getting your buddies. You're not getting all this control. You're playing fucking quarterback for the Pittsburgh Steelers. You're going to run the play that's called. You run the football, and I will sit your sorry ass down.
Is the culture in Pittsburgh
Justin
enough?
Fields behind you if I have to? What's that?
Is the culture in Pittsburgh strong enough for them?
That's what they're betting on if they bring him in, right?
Right.
Because and look, you tamed Russell Carrington Wilson, right? He was a great rampaging beast, if you believe his former teammates in the media.
I will say the quarterback market now, while it's not impressive in terms of like where a lot of these guys are in their careers, like Russ and Rodgers and whatnot, it is intriguing though, nonetheless, see where these guys can go. I heard rumors of Russ Wilson maybe going to the Giants possibly. It's a bridge quarterback.
Yeah.
I don't hate it.
I don't know.
I don't hate it.
If you're going to get Russell Carrington Wilson, you're better off just getting Cam Ward or Shedeur Sanders.
Well, assuming they both fall. One of them falls to the Giants at 3.
One of them will fall to the Giants.
Good, right? But even if he gets Shedeur, for example,
hold on,
you still get Wilson as a bridge.
The money's right, fine. But your comment of assuming one of them's fall, you think Cleveland's taking a quarterback?
Cam Ward. No. Cleveland, no. Sorry. Tennessee taking Cam Ward. Cleveland, I'm not so sure about.
They'll probably draft Abdul Carter or Travis Hunter. And whoever the Browns don't draft between those two, the Patriots will.
The Giants are getting either one of those two quarterbacks or Travis Hunter. So it's a win-win for them at this point. So I'll say about that. Last thing I got here. It's official. It was made official actually literally 28 minutes ago on my phone. Kellon Moore, Eagles offensive coordinator, is officially the Saints' new head coach. Your thoughts?
Hey, let me add something else spicy. You want to know who his rumored defensive coach is?
Who?
Your favorite former Charger head coach.
Brandon Staley?
Yes.
Good Lord. Well, I mean, he's not
as former workmates, right?
Yeah.
Golly.
How much does it Chargers South. Chargers South.
Yeah. How much does it suck for you if you're a Saints fan right now? Good God.
We'll see. I mean, you like to move with Kellon Moore?
No. It's absolutely ass. What are we doing?
Well, he knew he was going to job.
I mean, asinine, I should say.
We knew that he was going to job at some point. So,
not a head coaching one.
Well,
I would have felt better about him being the Jags OC than about him being a head coach.
He's not a bad OC, I thought. I thought some of the Cowboy fans who thought he was like, oh, Kellon Moore, blah, 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 blah. He wasn't that bad.
He liked to throw the ball down the field a lot, and the Cowboys were not built for that.
Right. But we'll see what happens there. I think we cleared a palette. Anything else you want to add before we get out of here?
An A for both the Chiefs and the Eagles, obviously.
Yes. A plus the Eagles for a job well done. And an A for the Chiefs because I'll go B actually, B plus.
Stop.
Because
stop. Just stop. How many games did they lose all year, Ernest Christian?
Well, it's including the Super Bowl 3.
Okay. So they're 15-3.
They got an A. They got an A. And the Broncos game doesn't even count. The Broncos game doesn't even count because they won't play that game. So come on now. Kyle, another great Student Report season for us. Excuse me. We've been doing this now 13 years at least. I enjoy it every year. We're not going away, guys. This won't be week to week as we usually are because football's over. We will probably go month to month most likely. With all the big stories coming up with the draft and obviously the free agency and whatever big stories may come up down the pike and maybe some special episodes on the road. But I love doing the report with you every year, and it's always fun.
Yeah, maybe we'll finally get around to doing that alleged Scrubs episode. Maybe we'll actually do that episode comparing which perfect pass is more perfect in the Super Bowl, Santonio Holmes or Mario Manningham from Roethlisberger or Eli.
So that's definitely a Studio Game Report episode you can throw it in for the offseason.
You'll have to get practiced up on your video production.
I'm filing it now, brother. I'm filing it now. So.
Oh, you're filing it now, which means in 5 years we'll do it. Okay.
Yeah. Plug away, bitch.
Honor, joy, and privilege, Ernest Christian. Until next time, of course, you can find me on Twitter, Instagram. I already said Twitter. Yeah, Twitter, Instagram, Threads, Blue Sky. I'm one of the cool kids at the SOTG. Find me on Facebook as a student of the game. Check out my writings on the Fans First Sports Network covering the Jacksonville Jaguars and the Orlando Magic. I drop a piece about how much trouble the Magic are actually in as they start the Hawks series 0-1. First game against the Hawks they played this year, even though they share the division in the Southeast. Isn't that interesting, Ernest Christian?
Mm-hmm.
At least I thought you would think so as an NBA guy. I talked about it with Trae Young after the game at the Kia Center, so that was that. But so make sure you check that out. Of course, the Duval Dive podcast I do with my friend Travis D. Holmes of Big Cat Country. Make sure you check that out. We're going to record that on Wednesday. I think we're doing it lunchtime on Wednesday because, I have to do other stuff during the day, including see Coach Scott Frost and his new coaching staff with the Black and Gold Banneret. Make sure you check out those interviews on the Black and Gold Banneret YouTube channel, as well as my coverage of things basketball as well, Black and Gold Banneret, as well as the Night Shift podcast on the Black and Gold Banneret YouTube channel. So, Ernest EJ Christian, take care of yourself. Keep the Huddle Up guys in check as much as you can. Tell the Eagles homers to settle down. Tell the Notre Dame homers that the Chiefs still belonged in the game because there's not a goddamn committee that put them there or a poll that put them there. And until next time, everyone, class dismissed.
Peace.